Hey, welcome to another episode of Learn to Love 101. I am your host, Clifton Brantley, and I am glad that you have joined me. I do not take it lightly that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with me for a while and hear what I have to say about love. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it's your not your first time, thank you for rejoining again. My goal is to help you do love and life better, right? And in this episode, we're going to talk about the 10 core needs of every human. Okay. We're also going to talk about the 4 questions that every human needs answered in the affirmative. All right. We humans are created for connection. All right. This is how God created us to be, to need each other. If we can go all the way back to creation, we can see how the need to bond with another person was evident all the way back then, right? When you read the creation story in Genesis, you notice that the writer records that every time God created something, he said it was good, right? He separated the light from the darkness, and then he called the darkness night and the light day. And then he said, that's good. Right? He created the earth and the seas, and he created the water he called seas, and earth he called land, and then he said, that's good. Vegetation, he created the vegetation and the plants and fruit trees and watermelon. Now, when he created watermelon, he absolutely said, now that's good, right? This process of creating and then affirming that what he created was good, it continues up until right after he creates the first human, right? Now, after he creates Adam, something different happens. It is the first time that it is recorded that God said, now that's not good, right? Now, he wasn't talking about the creation of man. He wasn't saying that that wasn't good, but man's condition of being alone, that was not good. Now, whether Moses, who was the writer of Genesis, whether he was being poetic or not in the creative story, we know that God knew how to create another human because he created one. He knew how to create another one, right? He knew that the human that he created would need another human. He knew that, like the sequence and what he was doing, right? He knew what he was doing on purpose. The story is written in such a way to emphasize, I believe, God's intentionality in creating mankind, right? He created Adam, said it's not good that he be lonely, gave him the task then of naming the animals to heighten his awareness that man needs a companion like these animals have companions. And then he put him to sleep, took a rib out of his side, and he created a woman, right? Now, when Adam sees the woman, he says, now this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This one here, this one is like me. See, the reason I took you all the way back to the beginning is because I wanted you to see how this need for connection is not something new, right? We were created this way from the beginning. I remember a few years ago, there was this term called thirsty that became really popular. Right? It's a derogatory slang to denote that someone was desperate. Now, you yourself may have a negative view of someone that you may feel is needy. Right? Sometimes clients come in my office and they complain about their partner saying he or she is too needy. But I got some news for you. If you're watching me right now, and if you're a human being, you, my friend, are needy. Yep, you are needy. You are thirsty. And to believe that you're not is to deceive yourself. The thing about social media is that it exposes how love deficient we are as human beings. I posted a post on Facebook a few weeks ago with a message that said this. When you say she's always seeking attention, what you're really saying is she's always seeking to feel loved. How is that different than what any other human desires? Hopefully, this will help you stop judging the thirsty just because you think it could never be you. It is you. You just hide it better than they do. Okay? The thing is, I'm not sure when desiring to be loved became a negative stigma, but it is a really dangerous one. Right? So many people come into my office and they think that they're strong because they don't need other people, or so they think. You're not strong because you can carry 100 pounds of groceries up 3 flights of stairs without asking for help. You're strong when you can recognize your need for help and then ask. All right? So we have this need to feel loved and connected to others. And if I wasn't clear, let me reiterate and be as clear as I can. We were not designed to be independent. Right? This whole independent women's movement that Destiny's Child started, they really didn't start it, but this whole independent woman movement has harmed a lot of women. We were created not to be independent, but to be interdependent, right? That is a healthy dependency on each other, balanced with a healthy self-dependence. It means that I need you to do for me what I can't do for me. Well, what is that? I'm glad you asked. We humans have biological needs, right? We have biological needs such as food, water, shelter, and air. But we also have a biological need to bond, right? You may not have heard that before, but we humans must bond with another in order to survive and sometimes be physically and emotionally healthy. The thing is, you're able to meet all of your needs yourself, right? You're responsible to meet all your needs. And you can do that except for the need to bond. When it comes to bonding, you need someone else to do that. Now, going back to the beginning, that is why God said that it wasn't good for man to be alone, right? He wasn't talking about physically alone because God was there, right? He wasn't talking about proximity, right? He meant loneliness. That is because we need someone like us who can relate to us in a common way. That is why all throughout Scripture, right, for those of you who read Scripture, all throughout Scripture, God says, don't think you can come to me and be good with me if you're not good with your fellow man. And let me say this. For all of my my fellow Christians, don't tell me how close you are to God, but then you can't get along with your partner. Those two don't go together. You feel me? Right. So we have this need for connection, and it's built in. Our human brain is wired for connection. That's one of the main things that I learned from Dr. Marks, who he studied the brain. Our human brain is wired for connection. Now, the brain is also designed to avoid pain and pursue pleasure. Right? When we're disconnected, we will experience pain. That pain that you experience will make you look for something to soothe it because we pursue pleasure to avoid pain, right? You have a legitimate need for connection. But if you choose to get that need met in an illegitimate way, you'll still bond with whatever or whoever you allow to meet the need, but you will essentially create more pain that you will then need to seek soothing for. That is why you must be careful of who or what you seek after when you are lonely, hurt, or sad. Now, Dr. David Ferguson says that our brains are hardwired for 10 core needs. Right? These 10 core needs, I say these 10 core needs, they're the bridge that love travels on to get from the love giver to the love receiver. Right? I'm going to say it again. These 10 core needs that I'm going to share with you, it's the bridge on which love travels to get from the love giver to the love receiver. Now, most of you have probably heard about the 5 love languages, right? By Dr. Gary Chapman. I read that, maybe it's like 28, 29. You may think that the reason your relationship is not good right now is because your partner isn't speaking your love language, right? When I first read the book, I thought that too. But as I've matured, I realized that the love languages were not sufficient enough to truly explain why we feel loved when we do. So my goal is to transition you from the 5 love languages to these 10 core needs that every human brain is wired for. Right now, Dr. Rick Marks has adapted Ferguson's work, and he created an acronym called CARES. But it's it's C 5 to the 5th power RE S squared, or to the 2nd power. Basically, it's C 5 A's RE 2 S's. Anyway, I was supposed to have a graphic up, but the way my time management is set up, I didn't get to do that. But I'm gonna give it to you anyway, right? So now listen. The thing about love languages is that they are actually just ways to express these 10 core needs, right? But before we talk about the 10 core needs, I told you that I was going to share with you the 4 questions that all of us must have answered in the affirmative. When we're born, these 4 questions need to be answered by our caregivers, our primary caregivers. Right? But once we become an adult, we have to get these needs met. You have to get these questions answered by our perfect higher power. Now, for me, that higher power is the God of the universe, right? The crucified carpenter's son from Galilee. All right, that's my higher power. You may have a different one, but the point is, you need to have your higher power answer these 4 questions in the affirmative for you, as opposed to another flawed being, right? So as an adult, I'm saying that your higher power has to be the one that validates you. You feel me? Your higher power has to be the one to give you your identity. Because again, if you rely on another flawed human to answer them, you're going to find yourself in a life full of uncertainty and emotional mediocrity. All right, so here are the 4 questions. Am I valuable? And by the way, let me give credit where credit is due. I didn't come up with these 4 questions. I'm learning so much from Dr. Rick Marks, who is mentoring me right now to be a better everything, man, Christian, therapist, and hopefully help some of you upright your marriage so that you can thrive. But anyway, here are the 4 questions that I got from Dr. Mark. These 4 questions must be answered in the affirmative. Number 1, am I valuable? Am I valuable? Number 2, am I lovable? Right? Am I lovable? I know you love me, but am I lovable? Am I really lovable? Right? The third one is, do I matter? Do I matter? And then the 4th one is, do I have a purpose? Why am I here? What's the point? Okay. These 4 questions must be answered in the affirmative. When people come into my office, they are usually struggling to get one or more of these questions answered in the affirmative. That's usually at the core of what they're struggling with. Now, the thing is, remember I said as an adult, God answers them for you. But I need to clarify that I'm talking about on a larger scale when I talk about God doing this for you, right? This has to do, so on a larger scale, this has to do with your overall value and purpose as a person. You feel me? But now, in your relationships, these same 4 questions must be answered for that relationship, or else you won't feel connected, which then now puts the relationship in danger. Okay? Now, the way that these 4 questions gets answered is by way of the 10 core needs. By the way, if anyone wants to know how God answers these 4 questions, we can talk about that offline. Just send me an email and I'll be happy to share that with you. Okay, so We'll go over the 10 core needs. Here they are. Um, Comfort, acceptance, affection, appreciation, approval, attention, respect, encouragement, security, and the last one is support. Now, I know you got all of that down and you memorized it, right? Of course you didn't. All right, so we're going to run through them. Now, I'm going to run through these really quick, okay? Just give you like a brief description of each one. And then if you have any questions at the end, you can ask questions and we can kind of dissect it that way and expound on it if that's okay with you. All right? Okay, so now the first one is comfort, right? Comfort means to soothe, console, or to reassure. Right? This is when you respond to someone who is hurting with words or touch, or sometimes just by your presence. Like when there's a death, right? When there's a death, oftentimes there's nothing to say, but your presence often communicates comfort, right? The next one is acceptance. This is when you accept someone without judgment or trying to change them. Right? Loving them unconditionally, especially when they have imperfect human behavior. Okay? Affection. Affection is usually expressed through touch and physical closeness. Okay? That's how affection is usually expressed. But it can also be expressed by gifts. But now they have to be gifts that the other person values. And that's the thing about all of these. I'm giving you like a short synopsis, but how these 10 are expressed is going to be unique to your partner. And when it comes to you, unique to yourself. So be mindful of that, right? Like how these show up in your life may be different than how they show up in your partner's life. But that's where you guys get together to learn each other and how to do life together. Okay? All right. So the next one is appreciation. This is an expression of gratitude, right? Giving your partner praise or thanks for something that they did. Approval. So approval is when you build up or affirm another, where appreciation is about what a person does. Approval is about who they are, right? So you may say something like, you're a good person. Or you matter to me even when I'm upset, right? That's approval. The next one is attention. This is when you intentionally give someone your time and energy, right? Showing interest and consideration for the other person, right? Give them attention. And I when you talk about attention, being in the same room and your spouse is talking to you and you're on your phone, you're not giving them attention, okay? That's just FYI. Quality time, if I could speak on this real quick before I go to the next one. Quality time is time where we focus on each other. Being in the same room is not quality time. Quality time is when we are each other's focus. Each other's focus, that's quality time, okay? Put that in your definition bag so that can come back up. So I want some quality time. They're saying focus on me. And I'm going to focus on you. Okay? All right. So next one is respect. This is when you value and regard someone highly, right? Treating them with goodwill. And you allow them to be who they are without trying to control them. It is disrespectful to try to control another human being. I told you last week I was with Dr. Marks. I guess it was week before last now. It seemed like it was yesterday. And one of the most powerful things I learned was how it is disrespectful to offer commentary on somebody's life or situation without their permission. That was life-changing for me because when I tried that skill when I got home, got to the hotel that night and tried it with my wife, it worked like magic. I was blown away. Just that one skill. So be mindful of that. Always be respectful. And when I'm talking about respect as a core need, not necessarily those two different things. Okay, never mind. The next one is encouragement. right? Now, I'll be honest with you. I was shocked when I saw encouragement on the list, um, because I just didn't expect that to be a core need, right? I know encouragement is important, but I did not know that it was a core need. But the reason that encouragement is a need is because we are not designed to do life alone, right? For example, your vision is designed to work with both of your eyes working together to create an accurate image. In the same way, we humans are designed to work best when we're doing life together because, like your eyes, one can't see exactly what the other sees. But when one eye put what it sees with the other eye, then they can see more accurately, right? Yes, I can encourage myself, right? But there are times where I cannot see the light or I cannot see the positive, and I need my wife to help me see. Or maybe remind me to take my eyes off my problem and put them on my God, right? Take my eyes off my problem and put them on my problem solver, right? My point is this: we all need to be encouraged. Now, encouragement is the act of giving hope and support to someone, right? Life can be hard, but an encouraging word can help us push through. Proverbs 16:24 says, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. All right, that's encouragement. Next one is security. Now, this security is about feeling safe in the relationship, right? We need to feel safe to truly be vulnerable. Security is freedom from fear or the threat of harm, right? Now, this is obviously one of the most damaged areas when we are unfaithful. And then the last one is support, right? To support means to come alongside and gently help, okay? Now, these are the 10 core needs that every human has. Now, although all of us have these needs, not all of them carry the same weight for everyone, okay? And what we do at Relate Well with Dr. Marks is that we all have a top three, right? We help you discover your top three. And if you do work with me, we have an assessment to help you discover what your top three and what your bottom three are so that you can love better, right? Now, remember I told you that the love languages are not sufficient in explaining our core needs. I remember when I was in my 30s and I took the love languages test and I scored the lowest when it came to gifts. And I knew I didn't like gifts because, there's a connection with my child. I just didn't like gifts. But then I noticed that every time someone bought me a gift, I felt valued and I felt special. And I'm like, that's weird. That's not my love language. I thought my love language had changed. But now I realize it's not that the love language changed or the need changed, but rather gift giving meant something other than receiving a gift to me, right? Receiving a gift went in my attention box, right? So I had a need for attention, and the gift spoke to the attention. Does that make sense? Right? So, for example, if you believe words of affirmation, or if your love language is words of affirmation, right? You may actually desire encouragement, but you're thinking it's words of affirmation. Or it may be about approval, or it may be about appreciation, right? The love languages test tells you your love language is words of affirmation. But every time your partner tells you, you matter to me, I'm not going anywhere, you light up because the real need is not the words, but the security that the words communicate, or maybe affection. You feel me? So in hearing these 10, which ones stick out to you? Which ones do you say, oh yeah, no, that's me. That's like my top one. All right. I would encourage you, maybe listen back to this again if you wasn't taking notes, and choose 3. And then when you do that, come up with clear ways that your partner can meet those needs for you. Okay? Now, the main message that I want you to get is that you were created for connection. You were created to need others. We feel loved when our needs are met. But you also have to realize that your partner was not created in your image, nor was they raised to know how to love you perfectly. Okay? So this means that you have to help them learn how to love you, and you have to learn how to love them. I want to expand the way that you think and not just do what makes sense, right? The love languages make sense. But what makes sense to you may be shaped by the culture. And the culture is driven by a mindset of me as opposed to a mindset of us. Okay? Now, next time we're going to talk about the four walls that protect us. Now, that is strictly Dr. Mark's work, and he's already done a video on that. I'm not at all going to try to recreate that because it was masterfully done. But I want to tell you about these four walls. Why? Because you have to protect us, right? He says you always want three people in your marriage: you, me, and us. When us is in the marriage, it's good. When us is not in the marriage, it's not good. It takes two to make a us, one to kill it. And so next week we're going to talk about the four walls that protect us and what that looks like as we are learning. Down the road, I'm actually going to do something also too, because I know a lot of people ask about this: conflict resolution and how to have difficult conversations, right? In my conflict resolution course, I talk about how to have difficult conversations, but I got some new information that I received from Dr. Marks. Y'all can get tired of me saying his name. Maybe I'm gonna just take credit for it. I can't do that. Okay. Anyway, whatever. How to have conflict, how to have difficult conversations. All right. So I made sure tonight I was under 30 minutes so that if you guys had questions, we had time for that. And if you didn't have questions, then, well, I mean, you're just going to have questions. But I also figured out a way to see your comments. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, now I can see them. I like that, Dr. Marks. 2 Corinthians 1, 3-4, we comfort others and we comfort us. Yes. You guys have any questions? I'm open for questions. Anybody have any questions? Now that I can see them. Well, I could see them last week, but I couldn't respond to them. But now I can. So, give you guys a few minutes to digest what we talked about. My goal, like I said, is to help you be a better lover. One of the things about being a better lover is better understanding. You hear me say all the time, if you learn it wrong, you'll live it wrong. The problem is, oftentimes we learn it wrong, we live it wrong, but then we hold on to these beliefs that don't work for us. And I ask people, if what you believe, number one, you don't really have proof for, and it's affecting your life in a negative way, what's making you hold on to it? Well, why are you still doing that? Do something different. Choose to grow. Choose to expand your knowledge of what love is. It's so sometimes disheartening, the things that I hear clients say that they believe about love and relationships, and I'd be like, huh? In my head, I don't say that to them. That would make them feel bad, right? But I'm like, what? How did you? What? And it's sometimes it's disheartening because they're living their lives on information that's just not accurate, and it's harming. And so my goal is to help you guys with that. So let's see. I know someone left an abusive situation and is happily single, not intimately connected to anyone. Is this a trauma response or her need meant for others? So Kelly, that's. Let me see if I can pull that on the screen. I can. There we go. So you say not intimately connected to anyone. Is this a trauma response? Well, so she's not happily single if she's not connected to anyone. That's not possible. Now, she can act happy. She can act like she's good. Now, she may not be intimately connected to anyone romantically. But yeah, no, she's not. So here's one thing I know: all human brains are the same. We may be different colors, different races, different cultures, but the human brain is the human brain. And uh, so there's a reason that when people are on, at least in Texas death row, they end up losing their mind. Why? Because they're in isolation from other humans um, for 23 hours a day. And then the 1 hour that they get to come out of their cell, they're still not interacting with anyone. They go crazy. And that's a focused view of what happens to us. Can I say longitudinally? That may not be the appropriate word, but anyway, that's a picture of what happens to us when we are alone and disconnected from people. All kind of things happen. So what she's going to end up doing is abusing herself in some kind of way, and it may be a situation where she's afraid to open up and let someone in. Anytime I meet someone, they say, I just like being by myself, or I'm a loner. You weren't born that way. Something happened somewhere. And you can choose not to deal. You can say, well, I like being this way. Okay. But if you're honest with yourself, if you move past the fear of connecting, you can find that the way God designed life to work works best. So, let's see. I thought I had another one. Let's see. Jennifer Brown, thank you. You're welcome. And thank you for joining. Thank you, Tawana. Thank you for joining. I hadn't talked to you in a while. I'm glad you was able to join. And let me make sure I got the second part of your question, Kelly. Is this a trauma response, or are her needs met from another relationship? Yeah, that second part. Because you can be single and happy. You have quality friendships and quality, you know what I'm saying? So, because not everybody's going. If you look at the Apostle Paul, and I'm sorry to reference the Bible, and I try to keep this religion neutral. I believe what I believe, but I don't try to, beat anyone else up. But so when I, reference the Bible, it's what I know. But the Apostle Paul was single all his life. But he had intimate connections, like with Timothy, the guy he was mentoring, and I want to say Barnabas, right? So he didn't have a romantic relationship, but he had other people that he was connected to. We're not designed to thrive by ourselves. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. What's up, Craig? Good to see you, man. Appreciate that. So if no one has any questions, I'm a skedaddle, and get ready for my day tomorrow. But next time, I hadn't decided if it's going to be next week or the week after, just because I have a lot of things going on. I'm transitioning. And let me give you this. I have a kind of announcement for you. In working with Dr. Rick Marks, I don't know if I shared this last week, but he is training me to do these marriage intensives where we get people out of divorce court and thriving in 3 days. So instead of 6 months of therapy or 4 months of therapy, 3 days. I seen him do it. And I was just like, 3 days, turn a marriage around. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I have a lot of things to put in place, literature, scheduling, and all that kind of things, those kind of things put in place, pricing. But that's coming because I want to have the most impact. And, if we can get the work done in 3 days versus 6 months, then let's do that, right? Save me some time, save you some time, and you guys can get to thriving. And you don't have to come see me every week, okay? So that's something that I'm working on, and I am, hopefully I'll be launching that within the next few weeks. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about that. But anyway, listen, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. Do me a favor, please. Like the video and share it. Why? Because if you found it valuable, so will someone else, right? And also, the way social media works, the more it's shared and the more it's liked, the more it'll show up on people's timeline or whatever, because I'm trying to create content that is life-changing. If you feel like it's life-changing, then share it. Tell somebody. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell so you'll get my notifications, because I'll upload videos sometimes during the week. And if you're on Facebook, you can go to A Better Family Now, or you can go to the business page of Clifton Brantley. You like both of those because I go live on there also. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. So again, thank you guys, and I will see you next time.